All right, welcome back to the House Committee on Environment. We are now looking at draft 7.1 of S325 with our Legislative Council.
Tchaikovsky, Office of Legislative Counsel. As you know, there's only a few things that changed in this draft. I took the language that Representative North presented to you. I'm sorry, I don't have the copy in front of me yet. And then also there were changes to the DHCD housing report.
It's online. Walk us through. If that's all right. Fine. Page 11.
Page 11. Thank you. All right. Yes. Oh, and just a small flag, I did change on page 10 in the duties section of the Oversight Committee, shall to to. So it's the committee shall work with A&R and to coordinate efforts to further improvements. And I do think to is a good better fit there. So on page 11, section 11, here's the language that Representative North presented to you. And I did hopefully organize it by timeline. So the Land Use Review Board shall deliver a report that shall collect the data and analyze whether and how Act 250 jurisdiction over commercial activities on farms should be revised, including accessory on-farm businesses on or before November 15, 2026. The effects of Act 250 mitigation actions on primary agricultural soils on or before July 1, 2027, and the effects of jurisdictional triggers, including Criterion 9L, on the development of retail and service businesses outside village centers and addressing sprawl and strip development, and how to improve the effectiveness of Criterion 9L on or before November 15th, 2027.
Representative Sackowitz.
I think that 1 is really different than 2 and 3. 1 seems like it's asking for policy recommendations, and 2 and 3 are just reporting on what do we know about what's going on. And so in that context, then number 1 is really, it's hard for me to connect to collect data and analyze. You're going to probably have some data analysis in terms of how you're going to then make policy, but that's not really the point of 1. It's really about what ought we be doing about these on-farm businesses.
Well, I think there is data to just figure out how many on-farm businesses there are and what type they are and kind of what spectrum they span in terms of the type of business, but also the amount of income, because we keep using that as some sort of potential tool to manage them. It's a trigger or a limiter or something. Yeah. What it would define it in the terms of defining commercial, non-agricultural commercial use. We keep going back to that. So I do think I shared your concern exactly when I read it first. And then I thought, well, that is what we're asking them to do. Representative Austin.
I'm just wondering about the date. Is that enough time?
I think so. They said they'd already started it. Sarah had.
Sarah had Land Use Review Board. I just want to bring up under 3, the wording. 9L is a criterion and not a jurisdictional trigger. And the way that is worded would seem to indicate that it's potentially a jurisdictional trigger. So
It's true. It's not
Maybe and instead of including or something like that. That's your specific jurisdiction.
probably said including before. But could we go back to Representative Sackowitz's point first? So we're talking about whether or not it fits. I'm okay with 1 the way it is.
And the time.
I like 1.
Oh, yeah. Tuesday.
Yeah.
And the representatives from the Land Use Review Board, November 15th for the accessory on farm business report is realistic for you?
Yes.
Okay, great. You're okay with, is everyone okay with one?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, just flag that it's they're really not all the same.
No, that's okay.
It's all, if people feel like it works anyway now.
I hope their recommendations are data driven.
Yes,
Sure.
exactly. Yeah. Representative Nor.
Just a grammatical thing in little a, start out, since it's titled reports with an S plural, deliver a report that shall, or should it be deliver reports that? I mean, it's, I don't, not that I care, but
They're individual. So I
Yeah.
think, yeah, it would be awkward if we said shall deliver reports.
But
the second.
the
shall
title
go
is
away.
reports.
Yeah, it's fine. You're right. It's fine. Either one.
I don't,
A report. Yeah,
okay,
maybe like that.
just want it to be grammatically correct, whichever is grammatically correct.
English teacher.
Math teacher, actually. Aerospace engineering is just as much about being a lawyer as it is an engineer, frankly. There's so much regulation involved.
Shall deliver reports.
I
that-
think.
Oh, wait, we're also gonna drop a shall, sorry. The Land Use Review Board
Yeah.
shall deliver reports that collect the data and analyze.
Yeah.
Make reports plural and
Yeah,
get rid of the A.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
That sounds good.
okay. And then in sub 3, what did you, what change are you recommending, Ellen, after hearing that?
Including to and, so the effects of jurisdictional triggers and criterion 9L on development.
Sorry, say that again?
The effects of jurisdictional triggers and criterion 9L
Yes, thank you.
on the development of retail and service businesses outside centers.
Peter Gilman.
I was just going back to number one. You had said something, and I'm sorry, I didn't quite hear in terms of the data that you were interested in related to that. Is there, if there's anything more specific that you want in terms of data related to that, it'd be helpful either to have it clear on the record or put into that section, just so we know what you're looking for there exactly.
Yeah, sure. So what I said was, we're talking about the types of data that might be collected for that. And I think an inventory of existing on-farm businesses and the types of businesses they are, and to the extent possible, the incomes from on-farm and off-farm, or, the revenue from on-farm and off-farm, because those are the things people keep bringing up when we talk about whether a business is really an accessory on-farm business or a separate commercial entity. And that's what we're trying to parse out. Representative Chapin.
While we're discussing that, I mean, I'm not as familiar as the chair on sort of how this works with Act 250, but I am very familiar with accessory on-farm businesses. So I would be expecting to get information like, this is how many jurisdictional opinions we issued on accessory on-farm businesses and the kinds of businesses that they were, and which kinds we said were not jurisdictional versus were. I guess that's, I'd be interested in understanding where accessory on-farm businesses are falling into Act 250 or not.
Yeah. And the contested cases.
Yes, right.
Just-
Sarah had Land Use Review Board. Just to be clear, though, we can't inventory exempt AOFBs because we don't know about them. So we'll be inventorying the ones that we do know.
JOs, sure, yes.
There might be some, right, and there might be some JOs that would show that it was exempt, but there may be many others where they just don't request a JO.
Yes,
We'll do our best.
yes, we understand. Yeah, okay, great.
Yeah, and accessory on-farm business has only been part of Act 250 jurisdiction analysis for the last 2 years. Prior to that, it was really a creature of municipal law. So there may be, before that was an analysis of whether something was farming or commercial business. So, but I think you did already talk about that initially in the accessory on farm business report a couple of years ago. So it's a little murky.
Representative Logan?
Yes, thanks. I was just curious. I mean, it's actually been a while since we've talked about accessory on-farm businesses. And I'm trying to recall if there's any other agency regulating accessory on-farm businesses, like the health department, for example.
Potentially, yes.
Yeah.
And the Agency of Agriculture issues guidance for
Right.
farms looking to develop an accessory on farm business about what the municipal law requires. And then it is a slightly different for Act 250 exemptions.
Seems like there are some stakeholders that could be engaged there too.
Representative Chapin?
I would invite our committee to receive a link to that report from a few years ago, and or maybe if we have time later this session to speed a little bit on it.
Yeah.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, sure. All right, moving on. Representative Austin?
Yeah, just real quickly, I'd be curious about any legal actions that were taken against on businesses from neighbors, you know, due to noise. And I'm sure it's in Act 250, you know, but I'd just like to see if there were a lot or just a few, and if it did go to court,
Yeah,
what was the outcome?
right. So this sort of contested or litigated on both sides from the applicant's point of view or non-applicant's point of view and the neighbor's point of view. Yeah. Yep.
Is it okay if we don't put all that data in the bill?
It's been helpful.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, great. Thank you for asking. All right.
Okay. And then I think the only other change, yes, the only other change, two changes on page 27. So on page 27, this is the annual report for the community investment program. I removed the 5-year. There is now an implied 5-year expiration on this report because I moved the statutory reference. Next, the last changes are in section 21, the municipal appeals and discretionary review of housing report. So on page 27 in the list of stakeholders, the Vermont Realtors Association and Vermonters for a Clean Environment have been added. And then the report details have been rewritten. So they've been all sort of broken out. So they shall report on the following: mechanisms for limiting appeals of municipal permits while allowing municipalities to address legitimate concerns with projects, including most commonly raised issues on appeal, and an evaluation of statutory or procedural tools to limit duplicative or frivolous appeals, and recommended legislative action if needed, if any. The impacts of discretionary review on residential development. Onto page 28. The potential value of the federal right to build zone legislation and steps the state can take to maximize that value. Assistance the state can offer municipalities seeking to limit discretionary review, including incentives, planning, and whether the state should develop objective standards, including model codes. So that was the rewrite of the one you had saw. I didn't entirely know what planning means here.
Oh,
But
nice.
I guess actual assistance with planning?
Planning assistance?
Okay.
Yeah.
And then number 5 is new. So the report shall include data on housing that has been built in the areas exempt from Act 250 jurisdiction under 10 VSA 6081 DD, the interim housing exemptions, including how many units, the price and where. And then a status update of 802 homes.
That, something that I've mentioned a couple times and forgot to get in there, I think is really important.
Agree.
But we also talked about having it be. Oh yeah, that's the right timing. Yeah. And I guess if the exemptions go away, it would no longer be in the report. So we can leave it the way it is. Okay, so, there's a minor change that we asked for up.
Yes.
What page, remind me?
Page 11. So I think there's just a couple of changes on page 11, but otherwise.
Remind us what the change on page 11 is.
So on page 11, I'm going to change it into the one we were talking about. So reports, deliver reports that collect and analyze data.
Yes.
And then including to and I'm taking out the comma after 9L.
I think maybe we should just go make those changes and go back. Okay, thank you.
I would love a copy.
Well, yeah, I'll go as far as.
Just go outside.